welcome to our SHAM course on Power Generation Technologies. My name is Kundan Sahu, lecturer in Mechanical Department from Uday Prasad Uday Government Polytechnic Durg. I am here to teach Module 4 of Power Generation Technologies. In my previous video lecture, we have discussed about site selection and comparison of nuclear power plants with thermal power plants. In this video lecture, we will discuss about nuclear wastes and its disposal of nuclear power plants. Under this video session, following contents are there: introduction, definition, objectives of waste management, classification of radioactive waste. It has different types on the basis of half-life and activity, on the basis of physical form, on the basis of emitters, waste minimization, storage, disposal and conclusion. So, let's discuss about nuclear waste and its disposal. Introduction. Nuclear waste, and also known as radioactive waste, is a byproduct of nuclear reactions and nuclear technology. It consists of material that have become radioactive as a result of exposure to nuclear radiation. This waste can remain hazardous to human health and the environment for a long time, often thousands of years, due to the long half-lives of some radioactive isotopes. The radioactive emissions during the operation of the plant is negligible, but the emission intensity is very high, which comes out from the waste. Therefore, safe nuclear waste disposal is a major problem for the nuclear industry. It is estimated that the radioactive products of 400 megawatt power plant would be equivalent to 100 tons of radium daily, and the radioactive effect of these plant products, if exposed to atmosphere, would kill all the living organisms within the area about 160 square kilometers. Therefore, safe disposal of nuclear waste really poses a problem for nuclear scientists and engineers. The purpose of proper management of radioactive waste is to ensure safety and well-being of the present and future generations of the general public and the environment. Second point is definition. Under the Atomic Energy Licensing Act 1984, radioactive waste is defined as any waste which contains all or part of substance or item which, if it is not waste, is considered radioactive material, or substance or item which was contaminated during production, storage or use of radioactive or nuclear materials, or prescribed substance or item which was contaminated by means of contact or by being in the vicinity of any other radioactive waste. Three groups of radioactive waste: first is liquid, second is solid, and third is contaminated materials. Next point is objective. The main objectives of radioactive waste management are to protect human and environment from any undesirable effects of radiation, to avoid imposing any undesirable effect or burdens of radiation to the future generations. So, next point is classification of radioactive waste. Nuclear waste can be classified into different categories based on various characteristics, including physical form, radioactivity level, half-life and the type of radiation emitted, that is beta, gamma or alpha. International Atomic Energy Agency divides radioactive waste into 6 classes based on half-life and activity. It has different types. First is exempt waste, next very short lived waste, very low level waste, intermediate level waste, high level waste. So, let us discuss about exempt waste. Exempt waste contains such small concentrations of radionuclides that it does not require provisions for radiation protection. Such material can be cleared from regulatory control and does not require any further consideration from a regulatory control perspective. Studies undertaken at the national and international levels have derived radionuclide specific levels of activity concentration for the exemption and clearance of solid material, providing explanation and guidance on the concepts of exclusion, exemption and clearance, that is lamps, smoke detectors, etc. Next type is very short-lived waste. Very short-lived waste contains only radionuclides of very short half-life with activity concentrations above the clearance levels. Such waste can be stored until the activity has fallen beneath the levels for clearance, allowing for the cleared waste to be managed as conventional waste. Storage for decay is frequently used in the management of liquid and gaseous waste containing short half-life radionuclides, which is stored until the activity concentration has fallen beneath the applicable levels for discharge to the environment. The main criteria for the classification of waste as very short-lived waste are the half-lives of the predominant radionuclides and the acceptability of the amounts of longer half-life radionuclides. These values cannot be specified generically because it depends on the planned duration of the storage and the initial activity concentration of the waste. But in general, the management option of storage for decay is applicable for waste containing radionuclides with half-lives of the order of 100 days or less. Next classification is very low level waste. Operation and decommissioning of nuclear facilities produce substantial amounts of waste with levels of activity concentration in the region of or slightly above the levels specified for clearance material. The management of this waste does require consideration from the perspective of radiation protection and safety, but the extent of the provisions necessary is limited in comparison to the provisions required for waste in the higher classes. An adequate level of safety for very low level waste may be achieved by its disposal in engineered surface landfill type facilities ranging from simple covers to more complex disposal system, generally with active and passive institutional controls. The time period for which institutional controls are exercised will be sufficient to provide confidence that there will be a compliance with the safety criteria for disposal of the waste. There is not a generally valid criteria to define a very low level waste. Nevertheless, it is expected that with a moderate level of engineering and controls, a landfill facility can safely accommodate waste containing radionuclides with levels of activity concentration 1 or 2 orders of magnitude above the levels for exempt waste. This applies as long as expected doses to the public are within criteria established by the regulatory body. Next classification is low level waste. Low level waste is a waste that contains such an amount of radioactive material that robust containment and isolation for limited periods of time up to a few hundred years are required. This includes materials with relatively low levels of radioactivity such as contaminated clothing, tools and materials from nuclear power plant operations. This class covers a very wide range of radioactive waste, ranging from radioactive waste with an activity content level just above that for very low level waste, to radioactive waste with a level of activity concentration such that shielding and more robust containment and isolation are necessary for periods up to several hundred years. This implies a range of design options from simple to more complex engineered facilities and may involve disposal at varying depths, typically from the surface to 30 meter. They will depend on safety assessments. Next classification is intermediate level waste. Intermediate level radioactive waste generally contains long lived radionuclides in concentrations that require isolation and containment for periods greater than several hundred years. Intermediate level waste needs no provisions or only limited provisions for heat dissipation during its storage and disposal. Due to its long-lived radionuclides, intermediate level waste generally requires a high level of containment and isolation than can be provided in near surface repositories. Intermediate level waste includes refurbishment waste, ion exchange resins and some radioactive sources used in radiation therapy. It requires more secure containment and isolation, often in engineered storage facilities or repositories. Next classification is high level waste. High level waste is the most radioactive and dangerous category of nuclear waste. High level waste is defined like waste that contains such large concentrations of short and long lived radionuclide that compared to intermediate level waste. A greater degree of containment and isolation from accessible environment is needed to ensure long term safety. Such containment and isolation is usually provided by the integrity and stability of deep geological disposal with engineered barriers. High level waste generates significant quantities of heat from radioactive decay and normally continues to generate heat for several centuries. Heat dissipation is an important factor that has to be taken into account in the design of geological disposal facilities. Depending the national policies, high level waste may include conditioned waste arising from the reprocessing of spent fuel or even the spent fuel itself. This is the graph between activity contents and half-life. In this graph, you can clearly understand the level of high level waste, intermediate level waste, low level waste and different types of waste. This is the another diagram of types of waste. Yellow color shows low level waste, green color shows intermediate level waste and pink color shows high level waste. From figure, 90% is the low level waste, that is represented by yellow color, and 7% is intermediate level waste and 3% is high level waste. So with the help of this diagram, you can easily understand the percentage distribution of different types of waste. Next classification is based on physical forms. First is solid waste, second is liquid waste, third is gaseous waste. Let's discuss the solid waste. Solid radioactive waste will arise from used filters, sludge from the cooling ponds, pieces of discarded fuel element cans, splitters, etc. These along with discarded item of the plant, example control rods. These are many ways for disposing of the solid fission products. The storing in shielded storage vaults consists in fixing the solid waste in borosilicate glass and then storing the glass in leak tight capsules. These capsules or vaults can then be stored in deep salt mines or in deep wells drilled in the stable ocean floor. The combustible solid waste is burned in incinerators and the flue gases formed are filtered and disposed of through stocks. Active solid waste are stored in water for about 100 or more days to allow radioactivity to decay. Then these are disposed of to deep salt mines or on ocean floor or in deep wells drilled in stable geological strata. Next type is liquid waste. Radioactive liquid effluents will arise from the laundry, personal decontamination, etc., together with activity accumulating from the corrosion of the irradiated fuel elements in the storage ponds. The disposal of liquid waste is done in two ways. First is dilution. The liquid wastes are diluted with large quantities of water and then released into the ground. This method suffers from the drawback that there is a chance of contamination of underground water if the dilution factor is not adequate. Next way is concentration to small volumes and storage. When the dilution of radioactive liquid waste is not desirable due to amount or nature of isotopes, the liquid waste are concentrated to small volumes and stored in underground tanks. The tanks should be assured long-term strength and leakage of liquid from the tanks should not take place. Otherwise, leakage of content from the tanks may lead to significant underground water contamination. Next type is gaseous waste. During normal operation, the following discharges of radioactive gaseous coolant will occur. Leakage from the pressure circuit at blower oil seals from charged and discharged machines. Krypton and iodine gases coming out from spent nuclear fuel, etc. Gaseous wastes are generally diluted with air passed through filter and then released to atmosphere through filter and then released to atmosphere through large chimneys. Krypton is removed by cryogenic treatment of dissolved of gas stream and packed in gas cylinder under pressure. Iodine can be removed from off gases by caustic scrubbing or HNO scrubbing. Generally, radioactive gases are collected and stored in the tank, buried in the ground and disposed of the atmosphere when activity level sufficiently comes down. Classification based on the emitters. First is beta gamma emitters, second is alpha emitters. Let us discuss about beta gamma emitters in nuclear waste. Beta particles are high energy electrons or positrons emitted from the nuclei of certain radioactive isotopes in nuclear waste. Gamma rays are high energy electromagnetic radiation emitted along with beta particles during radioactive decay. Next point is beta gamma characteristics. Beta gamma emitters in nuclear waste produce ionizing radiation that can penetrate material to varying degrees. Beta particles have moderate penetration abilities and can be stopped by materials like plastic or aluminum, while gamma rays are highly penetrating and require dense shielding like lead or concrete. Hazards. Exposure to beta and gamma radiation from nuclear waste can pose external radiation hazards to human and the environment. Proper containment and shielding are crucial for safety. Next type is alpha emitters in nuclear waste. Alpha particle consist of 2 protons and 2 neutrons and are emitted from the nuclei of certain heavy and unstable isotopes in nuclear waste. Its characteristics is alpha particles have low penetration abilities and can be easily stopped by a sheet of paper or human skin. However, if alpha emitting materials are inhaled or ingested, they can pose significant internal radiation hazards as they can damage nearby tissues due to their ionizing potential hazards. Alpha emitters in nuclear waste are particularly hazardous when they can come into contact with living organisms through inhalation, ingestion, direct exposure to contaminated materials. Proper containment and isolation are necessary to prevent internal radiation exposure. Managing and disposal of nuclear waste containing beta, gamma emitters and alpha emitters require strict safety protocols to protect workers, the public and the environment. Containment, shielding and proper handling practices are essential to minimize the risk associated with these types of radioactive emissions. Each of these classifications is important for determining the appropriate management and disposal methods for nuclear waste. Proper management and disposal of nuclear waste are crucial to protect human health and the environment from the potential hazards associated with radioactivity. Radioactive waste management covers the whole process of, that is, waste handling, waste collection, waste segregation and transfer, waste treatment, waste conditioning, waste storage, waste disposal. In this video session, we understand the different nuclear waste disposal methods. Nuclear waste disposal methods are designed to safely manage and isolate radioactive materials generated by nuclear power plants, research facilities, medical institutions and other sources. These methods aim to protect human health and the environment from the harmful effect of radiation. Here are some of the main nuclear waste disposal methods are. First is deep geological repositories. Deep geological repositories are considered one of the most favored methods for disposing of high level waste. Is placed in containers and stored in underground repositories located in the stable geological formations such as granite, salt or clay. The natural geological barriers and engineered barriers, that is containers, seals, etc., work together to isolate the waste from the environment for thousands of the years. In addition, deep underground water is generally devoid of oxygen, minimizing the possibility of chemical mobilization of waste. Here two figures are there. Left is one figure, right is one figure. Both figures shows deep geological repositories methods process, so you can easily understand with the help of this diagram. Second method is near surface repositories. Some countries utilize near surface repositories for intermediate level radioactive waste or low level radioactive waste. These repositories are located relatively close to the surface, but waste is still stored in engineered containers and is monitored to ensure safety. This is the diagram of near surface repositories. Different cells are there above the waste, so you can clearly understand the near surface repositories methods with the help of diagram. This is the another diagram of near surface repositories. Next method is transmutation. Transmutation involves changing the composition of radioactive isotopes to reduce their radioactivity or convert them into less hazardous forms. Research and development in transmutation technologies aim to reduce the long-term hazards associated with nuclear waste. Next method is reprocessing. Reprocessing is a method used to extract valuable material like plutonium and uranium from spent nuclear fuel. While reprocessing can reduce the volume of high level waste, it generates additional intermediate level waste. Proper management and disposal of intermediate level waste from reprocessing facilities are necessary. Next method is cask storage. Some countries opt for long-term storage of spent nuclear fuel in robust casks at the reactor or storage sites. These casks are designed to withstand extreme conditions and are monitored to ensure their integrity. Next method is in situ decommissioning. In some cases, nuclear facilities such as reactors or research sites are decommissioned and the radioactive structures and materials are encapsulated and left in place. This method relies on maintaining the integrity of the facility and its containment structures for long-term safety. Next method is interim storage. Interim storage facilities are used to temporarily store radioactive waste while long-term disposal solutions are being developed or until waste is ready for final disposal. Interim storage typically involves storing waste in specially designed containers and facilities. Next method is treatment and conditioning. Before disposal, nuclear waste is often treated and conditioned to reduce its volume and increase its stability. This can include processes like solidification, vitrification, that is turning waste into glass, and encapsulation in cement or other materials. Next method is regulatory oversight and public engagement. Proper regulatory oversight and public engagements are essential components of any nuclear waste disposal method to ensure safety, transparency and public acceptance. So, nuclear waste disposal is complex and long-term challenge that requires carefully planning, scientific research and adherence to strict safety and environmental protection standards. The choice of disposal method depends on the type and level of radioactivity of the waste, as well as local geological and environmental conditions. In conclusion, we have explored the significant aspects of nuclear power plants in this SWAYAM course of Module 4 on power generation technologies. We have delved into the introduction, elements, types, benefits, nuclear waste, disposal management of nuclear energy, including its low greenhouse gas emission and potential to provide a reliable and consistent source of electricity. Additionally, we have discussed the safety measures and regulatory framework that ensure the secure operation of nuclear power plants, minimizing the risks associated with nuclear energy. While nuclear power offers promising solutions to the world's energy challenges, it's essential to remember the importance of continued research and innovation to enhance the efficiency and safety of nuclear technologies. Thank you for your attention, and we hope video sessions has provided valuable insights about nuclear power plants. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have. Thank you.